Hello, everyone. My name is Spencer, and welcome to the Two Footballs podcast. I am your host, along with my great friend William,
Hey!
and welcome to our first ever podcast. So I'm gonna let William explain sort of what we decided on how we decided this idea, and we're just gonna have a lot of fun with it. So, Will, if you want to go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, it's we're just two bros. We've been friends for like 7 years.
Around 7 years.
And yeah, and then we both we played soccer together. We call it soccer over here in the States because we're stupid. And and we both also enjoy watching American football as well. And we're both very bored and we love talking about sports. So we're gonna talk about sports.
Yeah, so with quarantine and everything, with the no thing coming on right now, we kind of wanted to, start our own podcast. And so we want to talk about soccer and we want to talk about football. Came with the name Two Footballs, and welcome to where we are today. So I'm going to explain what my favorite teams are just so we can get all the bias out the way. First off, if we talk about the NFL, both of us are biased to the Saints. We're both Saints fans. I am a Chelsea fan in Europe, as well as like a few other teams that might come up whenever the new season rolls around, which is just Lyon. But um, Will is obviously a dirty Spurs fan. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, we both love soccer or football as we call it here, and we're hoping that we can talk and let a few people listen to it. Maybe this blows up one day, maybe this doesn't. But
Yep.
today we're talking about the Premier League and the games that are happening this weekend. We're going to talk about the championship a little bit, not dive into the games as much, but we're going to talk about the table, talk about the League One playoffs, and then we'll get into some other of the top five leagues, and then we'll talk about the NFL and some big news that came out of there. So we should just get right into this at this point. Um, the first game of the weekend, obviously, is Norwich versus Brighton.
A real thriller right here, boys. Where everyone's looking for everyone when they see the fixtures, they circled this one. They knew it was gonna be a big game, and I'm gonna have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning to watch it over here.
Yeah,
Because of time zones.
this is not a good game this is not a game that I really want to wake up for, but this is a big game for Norwich.
Honestly, if Norwich don't get all 3 points here, I think it's done for them. They really I
Well,
don't. They've been hapless. They're tied for the worst defense in the division. The only team with allowed the same amount of goals as them is Aston Villa. They both allowed 60. Like it's just their
that's poor.
defending's terrible.
Yeah, and I think they need 6 points to catch up to Villa. 7 points to right now be safe. Six
Yeah,
games left. It's like you just see if like
I don't
this
see it
one.
happening. Yeah, and
Right.
they've been pretty unfortunate too though. They've had some good run of form and they've had some good chances. They're second in the Premier League for hitting the woodwork. The only team that hits the woodwork more than them is City. So,
Well,
well, Manchester City.
I just think with Norwich, there's a lot of like okay young talent. You got Aaron's, and then you have Cantwell, and then you have a few guys that are like not Premier League material. We all thought Pookie was
Hmm.
going to be this amazing, revelation that would guide Norwich to survival. But this is
Yeah.
kind of like the team that whenever the season started, I circled them. I straight up went, they're definitely going back down. But for Brighton, on the other hand, this is an enticing game for them because they're on 33 points right now. They're about 6 points clear. A win here puts them 9 points clear. I think if they win this game, they're staying
Yeah,
safe. They're
I
safe.
agree. Yeah, if they win, I think they put themselves probably out of the discussion for going down. Probably, uh,
Right,
just because.
because out
I
of
mean,
all the
us.
less teams
Yeah.
left, it's like Southampton's already on 40, so they're gonna be safe. And we all know that this year a team's gonna survive with like 35 points. So all they technically need out of this game is a win. But I do think Norwich will be heavily motivated by the fact that if they don't win, it's pretty much curtains for them. Um, but
And both of them are coming off I think Norwich lost 4-0 to Arsenal and Brighton lost 3-0 to United.
yeah,
So
so they're both coming off real drubbins. But
yeah, they've both been just
I th-
destroyed
I think
by
Brighton's had the better of a restart though. They got that win over Arsenal when
they
everyone was laughing at Arsenal at that time. But
yeah, which it's always fun to watch Brighton. uh, upset Arsenal and just laugh at Arsenal. It's always a pleasure. So I'm definitely rooting for them to stay safe just for another year.
But yeah, they Brighton I think does take this game though in the end. Norwich is
Yeah,
gonna be I don't know. As soon as a goal goes in, whenever I'm watching a Norwich game, because funnily enough, the team I've watched the most since the restart is Norwich because all their games are somehow televised. But they every time they go 1-0 down, it's like the heads start dropping, and players will start arguing,
I
yapping at each other. But
they
overall,
definitely
I think Brighton
definitely
gets
have
the
a
wins.
yeah. I think Norwich doesn't really stand much of a chance to stay in the Premier League, and I think Brighton should probably at least take a point, if not all three. Probably all three. Norwich has just not
Right.
been very good lately,
But
and so
if this is something that Norwich can propel themselves, this has got to be it. I don't know like
yeah, this is it for them. This is last grasping at straws right now, just trying
right.
to come up with something.
And I think even if Norwich do go down, then the big thing is going to be keeping their players. Like the quality ones like
Yeah,
Cantwell, because these bottom half of the tables, they're all going to come grabbing for Cantwell and a few other players on their team. But
can't. I think if they well, it's looking they're going to go down. Cantwell and Aaron's are probably gone, but if they can hold on to those players, they'll probably be right back up.
right,
Just,
it
but
might just come right back up and do the
but
same
especially
thing.
the financial loss of going down, but that's probably going to be amplified by the financial loss from lack of fans from coronavirus stuff. So they might have to sell.
Yeah, that's also true too. With a lot of these teams, the coronavirus has really impacted all of our lives. And a lot of these teams, whenever after the restart, you can see a lot of their awarenesses, like their awareness of what to do on the ball has gone down a lot because they haven't played soccer in so long. It's been almost 3 months for some of them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
overall, I think Brighton does take this game. You just got to think Norwich are getting ready to go down.
I can't believe we just talked about Norwich versus Brighton for that long.
Hey, you gotta get the good things.
Yeah, we've
Next
been
up.
missing sports so much. Oh my gosh.
Next up is Leicester versus Crystal Palace, and
And
oh, this is a team of two teams that have had a stinky restart.
yeah,
Well,
both coming off tough losses right now.
Palace they got destroyed by Liverpool last time, and I guess I wouldn't call Palace's restart a stinky restart because they did get a win over Bournemouth whenever they came back,
Yeah,
but then again,
but
it was
everyone
Bournemouth.
everyone seems to be getting a win over Bournemouth since the restart, to be fair. So
That's also true, but there was a stat against Liverpool where they didn't get a single touch inside the opponent inside
yeah, I
Liverpool's
saw that.
box.
That was insane.
And I think
That
that just
is
that just proves how good Liverpool is. But I
I
mean,
mean
that's got to be pretty embarrassing. Like surely, like at the end of the game, Roy isn't telling them, lug one up there, boys. We might be able to like make the stat look less disgusting.
yeah, at that point in the game, are you just playing? You're just like, all right, come on. Well, surely we can get one touch in their box, right? Like they're just like playing long balls. So like, I don't even care. I'm just like, one touch.
One touch is all we need. But I mean, for one thing for Palace that I honestly kind of see now is what do they really have to play for? Because it's
Yeah,
like there's 6 spots out of Europa League qualification. It's 10 points now. I guess if Manchester City's ban in the Europe is upheld, then it would be still 6 spots and you need 5 points
yeah.
then.
I feel like we should just uh assume that their ban's gonna be overturned and like everything's normal for now, at least.
Right, unless some news comes out. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna assume that if everything was normal, like Crystal Palace, it's not gonna happen for them because there's too many teams in between them. But
yeah.
on the other hand
I
of things, Leicester has to win this game.
yeah, I agree. It's because Crystal Palace doesn't really have anything to play for. I mean, they're sitting, 12th. They're not gonna go down. They're not gonna make it to European football. So I mean, it's just uh, Leicester has something to play for.
And Leicester actually, they've had a pretty bad restart, drawing with relegation candidates Watford, drawing with
Yeah.
Brighton, not scoring any goals, and getting beat 2-1 by Everton. And then they also lost in the FA Cup against Chelsea. This has
Yep.
got to be like, this is where Brendan Rodgers got to turn around. And an interesting little thing here about Leicester, if you go back to February 1st, they beat Chelsea, they tied Chelsea 2-2, right? That,
Hmm.
other than Aston Villa, if you take out the Aston Villa 4-0 win before everything went wrong, they haven't scored more than a goal in a game since then. Like
Wow.
it's been They've struggled to
Tough
score.
going for him.
It's weird because you got Jamie Vardy who he's
Tied for
still
the league in
he's tied
goal
tied
scorer.
for the league lead. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
surely they got to put something together here because if not, they might. I mean, if things keep going bad for them, they're not even going to make Europa League at this rate because
Yeah,
Wolves
I
are 3 points off
yeah,
now.
Wolves. I love Wolves. Uh, yeah, I think yeah, they have to get something from this game.
Yeah,
Like they have to get 3 points probably because Chelsea's and Man United and Wolves are breathing down their neck. I I I think they don't have to worry about falling out of the top six really too much in my opinion, just because of 9 through 7, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Sheffield are just beating up on each other and hapless. So I don't expect them to to
right,
have too much to worry about to falling out of the top six. But they definitely, if they want to keep Champions League positioning,
right, because
they gotta step it up.
Wolves are a win behind just 3 points. So that's definitely going to be a big game for Leicester. I think, though, in the end here, Leicester are just going to have more to play for. A little bit
Yeah,
more grit from Brendan Rodgers,
you
and
gonna
they'll get the
party with
W.
Vardy?
I don't have Vardy scoring. He's not going to score, but someone else will. I don't know.
All
Probably
right.
like a little bit of a Ben Chilwell maybe on a or
Oh,
is James Madison going to be back in the lineup? I wonder so.
I do not know.
I know he was out against Chelsea, but moving on to our next game. This game's probably the I don't want to say it. I think this is probably one of the better games of the weekend. Wolves versus Arsenal.
Oh yes, yes, yeah.
Arsenal really
Here,
really got turned around.
I mean, to be fair, Norwich basically assisted two of their goals, but they definitely, I mean,
They beat up on
they definitely turned it
Norwich,
around.
but like
Huh?
It's Norwich, so this is Wolves we're talking about, the mighty Wolves that
Yeah, I
they
think.
they have started back on a fly. I
Yeah,
mean,
Wolves have won every single Premier League game that they've played since the restart. I think.
albeit they did play like two of the bottom three right now, and then West Ham, but still,
Still,
that's
I
still a
mean,
good stat. I mean, and we all know that Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez are absolutely
oh,
having
Traore.
amazing game or amazing game
Traore
right
is an
now.
absolute man, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah,
Apparently, it's all genetics, but I'm not buying that
it's
for a
all
second.
genetics.
All genetics, but
I tell you what, that man. I I'm not. I mean,
he would destroy me in a game of soccer.
he destroyed me in a lot of things, if you know what I mean. Anyway,
Anyway, switching topics on that,
but it's like a
Arsenal have
forearm. Anyway,
Arsenal have been yikes. I mean, they've turned it around the last two games. Beating Southampton, which one of their goals was gifted, beating Norwich, which two of their goals were gifted. They still haven't. I've watched most of the Arsenal games. They haven't convinced me enough to where I think they can turn
yeah,
around and beat Wolves.
Arsenal, they just really haven't convinced me at all. And Wolves, even though they've played some like bottom tier teams, really, it's just sometimes it's as simple as you are as good as your form is. Like you are what your form is. So it's like they're in really good form right now, even if it's against lesser opponents. And I think they can carry that over
Right,
if they
and I mean, if Arsenal want any chance of making Europa League, this has got to be a win.
yeah,
If Wolves win, then they'll pull. If Wolves, Chelsea, and Man U, which we forgot to cover the Man U game, um, would win, then that'd make it really tough for Arsenal, unless Leicester
yeah.
wins too. But
I agree. I think Arsenal have to win this, but so do Wolves. So it's like
it's gonna be a lot of these games now in the season. It's either you have nothing to play for, or this game means everything to you. Um,
yeah.
but I
So
mean, I'm going Wolves here. I think Wolves have got this in the
I'm
bag.
going with Wolves. I believe Traore is gonna just steal David Luiz's lunch money in the 95th minute and win 1-0. That's what I got.
Oh, I hope it's something better than that. But let's move on to the game I actually missed now. Man United versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth need these points bad, but
Mm.
Man United would need them way
What you
more.
reckon? Like 4-0?
Yeah, I think Man United are gonna win it like
I mean the way Man United have been playing the
drew
last
with
couple
Spurs,
games.
then beat Sheffield and Brighton by 3. You got it.
Yeah,
I mean, they look like they're
yeah,
become next year. It looks like they might contend for the title, and that might be a little early because I don't think they're
yeah.
Liverpool good, but we
And
might.
yeah, I'm not entirely sold on Ole just yet, but
Right.
I do think that the group of players is good enough to. He's not. I don't think he's a terrible manager or anything. I'm not sold on him being one of the top tier managers. But the team that they've assembled, you know, looking pretty
They've
good.
got a good team going for them. They just need to
Yeah,
find the right sort of thing here to get going. I mean, they've got a good run, and they just need to pretty much here if they win out, that'd be big for them because you know third place maybe fourth if if
yeah.
if that.
Well,
But
yeah. If they're winning out, they're definitely getting Champions League football. That's for sure.
right.
So it's
But they just need to Bournemouth though. I feel bad for Eddie Howe. He's probably one of the we're talking about a few years ago. He's one of the best young English managers, and I still think he lives up to that. But is this the time where would Bournemouth go down? He's gonna leave.
you know I think yeah. Even though they're only 1 point off of safety technically, I think they're going down. Like they just the way they've been playing, they've been acting like they've been playing like a team that expects to go down. And
Right. And I mean, I don't think have they won since the restart has happened. I don't think they have.
I don't believe so. I believe I got they lost to Crystal Palace, Wolves, and Newcastle.
Oh yeah,
Bournemouth.
Newcastle absolutely drubbed them this past weekend,
Oh
4
yeah,
one.
4-1.
But I mean, I my three relegation candidates just seem to be Norwich, Bournemouth, and that last spot's gonna be tough. But I think Villa are gonna go down too.
Yeah,
You kind of get the feeling Villa are going down.
which I mean, of course, it's easy to say that because those are the three teams in the relegation zone.
Right,
But it's
and
like
it's like
they're there for a reason. I mean,
I mean, it's like West Ham seem to have caught that little bit of form. Brighton looks safe, and then it's up to Watford, which I mean, Watford has put together some decent performances against like Leicester and stuff, but everyone in the bottom three just don't convince me at all. Um,
yeah,
but I do believe Man United's going to win this game. I think it's going to be an absolute drubbing.
yeah. I think Man United are going to add to their goal differential in this one. Try
Yeah,
and catch up with Leicester on. For Leicester has 29, they've got 20. See if
right.
they can catch them.
um, and on to the last game of Saturday, we have my boys Chelsea against Watford. This is a huge game for Chelsea now.
Listen,
They got to win.
which it's also a good opportunity for Aston Villa and Bournemouth, but it's a shame Bournemouth is playing Man United this weekend.
Right, and Aston Villa is playing Liverpool, so like
Yeah,
this is
it's
this is a chance
it's
for
tough.
Norwich actually. Like this is what we're saying. If
Yeah,
Norwich win, they're only then 3 points off, and because everyone else, I'm telling you now, as long as things go right, Chelsea should beat Watford, Liverpool should beat Aston Villa, and Man U should beat Bournemouth. So as long
yeah.
as everything in a perfect world goes right, which obviously we know this could all change and all the relegation candidates could win this week, but
I
I
see. I think if I were to pick a relegation candidate to win, I think I would pick Villa, and I just because
just because of what happened today
just
with
because of
Man
what happened
City.
today. I mean, Liverpool's a better team. Liverpool's the best team in England right now. Obviously, people are talking trash about them because it's like they lost, but 4-0. But still, they're the champions of England for a reason. But they don't have anything to play for, and Villa has a lot to play for.
Right, and I mean Villa will have a lot to play for, and so will Watford. But I think Chelsea, Frank Lampard, he's gonna give them a bad. Probably was yelling at him after the freaking
Oh yeah,
West Ham game.
which was
And
really strange. Chelsea looked like they had really turned a corner, and they were going to be the new hot commodity, And then,
I mean, their attack is the new hot commodity. Pulisic's been outstanding since the return. Uh,
oh, we're both. I don't. We're both Americans, so Team USA, baby. I mean, I'm a Spurs fan, so I don't really like Chelsea. But every time Christian Pulisic scores, I'm just, oh,
so happy.
what a
But
lad.
I mean, their attack looks great, and it's gonna keep getting great because they've signed Ziyech, they've signed Werner,
Mhm.
but they haven't signed a defender, and that's what happened against West Ham. You let in 3 goals, and 3 of
Yeah,
them probably all shouldn't have gone in. But
yeah. That world's most expensive keeper,
yeah, he really had some
not
fun
in the
this
best
weekend.
form.
But I think Chelsea do take this one; they'll turn it around. And
Yeah, I
Watford will
think
be stuck down in the bottom four, I guess. And really, I think this is the weekend where we'll see West Ham and Brighton maybe pull away a little bit, and then that bottom
yeah,
four becomes clear.
and I think the bottom 4 points wise is gonna stay the same this after this weekend, honestly. I don't think I wouldn't be surprised if none of them pick up a single point just because of
Right.
how difficult their schedule is.
Right. I mean, Norwich technically has the most winnable game, but it's Norwich. So,
Yeah.
um, moving on next, we have Burnley against Sheffield United, a game that once again it's in the earliest time slot, so it's gonna be really hard to wake up for because
Yeah.
Sheffield, it's looking all right for them after last game, and Burnley, it's looking amazing. And this is a game where I don't want to count Burnley out because I think Sean Dyche could get them into Europa League at this rate. They'll win against Sheffield, and they're ahead of
Oh,
them.
yeah. Yeah, when against Sheffield, they're right in the thick of it. But, Sheffield seems like they're regaining their form. I honestly think this might be one of the toughest games to call just
Right,
because how close they are both, points-wise and in recent performances. They're both
right,
coming off big wins.
and in this case, I'm picking Sheffield. And this, it's kind of tough to call, like you said, but I think Sheffield will come out and they'll kind of be
Yeah.
a little more motivated. They're really close. We're just there. If Wolves can lose, then maybe we can grab something. But it is going to be tight for them, and it's going to be tight for Burnley because Burnley are really well set up. Except in the Man City game, they were really well set up against Crystal Palace, and I watched that whole game. Man, Burnley looked like they were in charge. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I think this has got to be a Sheffield win. They I think ever since they lost to Arsenal in that last minute heartbreaker in the FA Cup, they've just kind of been a little more motivated in training, maybe picking it up a little bit, trying to get back into that Europa League spot. But I think Sheffield wins.
Yeah, I think Sheffield is gonna take the points.
I'm not saying I'll wake up for that game. I'm gonna try my best, but
I
6
would not
a.m.
be surprised to see a draw, honestly, though.
That is also true. I didn't pick any draws this week, which now that I think about it, I probably should have picked a bit more draws. But on to the next
Well,
game, which actually I could see this game being a draw. Newcastle against West Ham.
yeah, you see, I mean, if you'd have asked me before the Chelsea game who I would have had, I would have said, "Oh,
Chelsea.
well, Newcastle for sure." But then West Ham had to go and upset Chelsea like that, and I'm like, okay, maybe they can do something here.
Right, maybe David Moyes has turned a corner with the squad coming back, and maybe they're now starting to gain a little bit. Newcastle are safe. I think next year. Oh, if that deal, which obviously we heard a lot about it over quarantine, but it's kind of like stalled up maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that it's real confusing, and I'm trying my best to not pay attention at all to it because I don't wanna get something wrong and just but
Look
it
like an idiot.
seems yeah, it seems like everyone's real confused on what's happening. Even people within the club don't know what's going on.
Right, because Mike Ashley runs that club and he's a terrible owner. But I think if I had to pick out of all these games this weekend that ended in a draw, this is going to be the one that I think. It's either this one or the Spurs Everton game on Monday, but I think if I'm picking a winner in every single one of these games, I'm going to pick Newcastle. They've been in a good run of form. Obviously they lost to Man City in the FA Cup and that kind of sucks, but Newcastle will most likely get the win here. West Ham, they might be a little high off their Chelsea win, kind of thinking, oh, yes, let's go. We're on the right track. And then they might just get put right back down by Newcastle. But it'll be an interesting weekend with them for sure. Anything else to add on the Newcastle squad?
No, I think, I've been impressed by Newcastle just because of their Bournemouth win, but, I mean and I West Ham turned that corner with Chelsea as well, seemingly in the same weekend as Newcastle, so it's a real toss-up for me. I think if I see anyone taking all 3 points, I think it'd be Newcastle, but I think a draw is really likely.
Right. Well, on to the next game, which is Liverpool Aston Villa. I think this one's clear call. Even after today's drubbing, I
Yeah,
think I think Man City were just mad 'cause they had to give them a guard of honor.
honestly,
You could tell these players were not one to do that. They're like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to beat you 4-0 after whenever we get out there. And they did. They went out
absolutely.
there and looked stunning against them. Liverpool probably just celebrating from the title too much beers
Yeah.
were in. But
Which
Liverpool,
do you think they reach? the 100 points mark? Do you think they become Century Boys?
So they're on 86 right now. We got 6 games to go, so they'd have to pretty much win out. I mean, they could lose one from here out. I'm gonna go with yeah. Oh man, this is tough to call. Let me look at the rest of their schedule. No, they got to run in with Chelsea and Arsenal, and Burnley. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say they
Yeah, I
miss.
don't.
I'm gonna say they miss out on it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they just miss out on it, but I think they get 3 points closer probably this weekend.
Right, and I think Aston Villa. It's
If I that's like I said, I think if I see any of the bottom four teams taking the points, it would be Aston Villa just because Liverpool doesn't have anything to play for, and they really do.
right,
But it's Liverpool.
right, and you also got to think like with a lot of these lockdown games. Is there anything like that makes a difference between playing at home and playing away? It feels like everything's at a neutral site ground, to be honest, with there being no fans. But
Yeah, it does. It doesn't. Yeah,
maybe it's like
it's
the pitch feels a little different or something like that. But I don't know. I think definitely though Liverpool take this points. They're gonna kind of wake up now and realize maybe we should go for the Centurion thing.
yeah.
Um, On to the last game of Sunday, we have Southampton taking on Manchester City. And I don't know how you could say anything other than Manchester City by as many as they want to put in the background after today's
Yeah,
performance.
it's pretty much what. I mean, I don't think City really has anything to play for. They're pretty much either they're guaranteed Champions League or they don't have it at all. I guess depending on how the ruling goes. So I I I mean Southampton also they're safe. It'll be difficult for them to move up much higher up the table. I mean they're only 5 points off of uh, Tottenham, in ninth, I guess, and they could maybe move up, but like they're 7 points off of Sheffield in seventh, and
Right.
they're what 12 points off of six, so they're not gonna get any European football from it. So
Right.
it's basically a game of who cares. Who cares more? Like, does Raheem Sterling think that he should get a hat trick just because he wants to? Or I mean,
Danny Ings is also in Southampton too, and he's going for that golden boot, I think. He's got to be. He's only 1 point
oh,
off it.
that's true. Yeah, he's got 18.
I mean,
Vardy and
Aguero's
Aubameyang got
out for the
19.
year, so he's not going to get it. So it's pretty much just a race
Yeah,
between Ings, Vardy, and Aubameyang.
that's
Um,
that's another thing too. Salah could be like Mohamed Salah could have just turned it on the last few weeks. He's only
He's
2 goals
he's
off.
only a couple of goals off, but I just think Ings. I feel bad for Ings though because you got to think if the Euros were to happen this year, he would have definitely gotten a call up to England,
Yeah, that's
especially with Kane being out and them having obviously
yeah.
your
I
number one
mean, really
striker out.
though. I mean, you've also. I mean, you've got. I mean, okay. Well, that's just getting onto England, but England has so many strikers right now. Just
Right, but if you're Gareth Southgate, how would you not be able to take a guy who's really in form? Maybe
yeah.
he lacks a little bit of the stuff that Vardy or Rashford or Sterling might have. But I think you take him on the plane as like a third substitute, maybe.
I think yeah, he would have definitely got a call up. I think for sure. You don't listen. You don't put in what 18 goals. There's
Mm.
still some games to go. He's probably gonna crack 20. You don't crack 20 goals in the Premier League, not get a call up, right?
Right, surely you got to get called. Now I don't think he's not going to get one because it's a whole year away now. But I think we're kind of getting on the Southampton side of things when this is going to be Manchester City's game by like a mile.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
I'm picking Man City by like 4 goals. They're gonna have
yeah.
another 4-0.
I think it's gonna be this game week is gonna be the two Manchester teams, City and United, just trying to outscore each other.
That could be an
That
interesting week.
yeah, yeah.
But on to the Monday
Little.
game, which is the last game of the week until literally the next day. But we're just gonna cover to the last one before everything
Mm.
restarts. Spurs Everton.
Yeah, I'm a Spurs fan, and
I'm gonna be honest. This game has draw written all over it.
yeah, I could see that for sure. Um, yeah,
It's two
you know,
teams. They're sitting basically mid-table. They're both fighting to try to like. Obviously, Everton are much further out. They need a couple more points. I mean, technically, actually, Everton's only 1 point behind Spurs, but I think this game is just going to be two teams absolutely going at each other, and it might end 0-0 to be honest. But
Yeah, I this one's gonna be I mean it's at 2 o'clock. I don't have to wake up early for it. It's be a real difficult one to watch. Just because uh I being a Tottenham fan, it's like being lactose intolerant and then eating you really love ice cream though, and you're like sitting on the couch just eating like barrel full of ice cream, even though you know at the end of this
it's
you're
gonna
probably
hurt.
gonna be on the toilet crying in pain, you know, but it's but you love it so much. You gotta watch. You gotta watch until the end. Like maybe it'll be different this time, and it's like nope. I'm just dying on the floor of my bathroom praying to God that it'll stop. Like that's what being a Spurs fan is. And
Oh,
I
I feel
think I
bad for
fancy
that.
them to I think they can I
You want to
you see the
think?
problem the problem is I'm so optimistic. I'm like they can take 3 points here and they'll be sitting pretty, you know, not sitting pretty, but
They'll be
they'll be in a
closer.
they'll be closer, and that's all that matters. And then I don't know, Eric Dyer's gonna score a screamer in his own net, and it's gonna be the worst thing to ever happen to me. So I
Oh,
think I could I could see a draw here.
I'll make sure if in the event that the inevitable does happen and Tottenham loses this game, I'll make sure not to make it too bad on the podcast next week.
Which, by the way, uh, just Tottenham, Arsenal, and Sheffield. I think any slip up at all at this point for any of these teams, and I think they might be done.
They might be
Any
mid-table.
Yeah,
I
there's no way I could see them if any of those 3 teams slip up one more time, I don't see any way possible for them to make top 6, even if it's just a draw,
well, that's
you know?
that's the thing too. Like third to 10th has never been. I don't know when it was this close last, but it's like I could
Yeah.
see all these teams going into Europe and actually making some noise. Obviously, they got to go through Europa League qualification way, which is hell on earth. But um, I definitely think this will be a big game for Tottenham, and I think they need to win it. And I'm actually gonna, if I'm not picking a draw here of 0-0, I'm picking Tottenham to win it.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
could
gets me hyped.
definitely I I just feel like, I feel like Richarlison, is gonna give Tottenham's backline fits unless they change things up. I don't think the Dyer and Sanchez pairing is working anymore. I think they gotta put in, the Belgian duo,
Oh
the
yeah,
Belgian wall, and I think I'd like to see that return, but
yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens with it, but I'm gonna go with the Spurs win, but that very well could go the other way.
I also interesting stat that I saw earlier today. Richarlison, am I saying his name wrong?
No, that's
Sure.
right, Richarlison.
Okay. Uh, he since I forgot the time frame, but since a certain time frame, him and Neymar are the only are like and Neymar's the only Brazilian that scored more goals than him.
Oh goodness,
But that's got to be quite the time frame because you know
Neymar hasn't played in a while because of the whole thing
obviously
happening. But
PSG isn't playing right now, so yeah.
right,
But
so that's all the Premier League games for this week. Now we want to move into the Championship. The best league on earth, and kind of talk about that for a little bit because, in all honesty,
oh,
this is probably one of the most underrated races in Europe.
honestly, look at this.
It's
One
insane.
point separates first and second. I mean, I mean, what, 6 points are separating first and third? Sure, but I mean, there's still
Third to
what, eight
fifth is
games
separated by
left.
2. There's still 6 games left.
Oh, 6 games. Wait,
Yeah, yeah, they play 46 in the championship. It's weird,
my
honestly.
bad. I did that wrong. I just said 8 games because I just said 24 teams each, and I'm stupid.
But they then sixth place down to, let's see, what's a good mark? 11th is 5 points, which is
Yep,
just insane. And even 12th, it's 6 points.
yep. I mean,
So by that mark, every single game to any team that is in the top 12 matter, and
yeah, honestly,
every single game matters to, because in the relegation zone you
I mean,
have
yeah. And then
8
you get
teams
to
down.
relegation. Look, I'll just read you the relegation zone points wise. 40 points, 41 points, 43 points. That's the bottom 3. And then the 3 above that are 44, 45, 45.
and then
Like
46 from Charlton. But
yeah, like it's just such a gradual inch up. It's so competitive. It's fantastic. It's great.
right, and it's like, I'm so happy I bought ESPN Plus because here in the states that's the only thing that airs it, and they only air
Yeah.
every game every now and again. So it's like, yes, I can finally catch. People call it, the best league in the world and by competitiveness, and this really
Yeah.
is showing it. But I just wanted to go over it and give a little bit of a prediction on who we think is going to go up, who we think our promotion playoff candidates are, who's going to win the playoffs, and then who's going down. So I'll go
All right.
first. I'm gonna say it now. I think Leeds have got this in the bag. Leeds, I
Oh,
want to see Leeds come up so
I sure
bad.
hope so.
Um, I don't want to see West Brom come up though. That's the thing.
What I know, West Brom. I wish they were not here. Like I'm just like
There's
there's
been
such a
Whenever they were in the
no
Premier
offense.
League, it's like oh, it sucked watching them play. You knew it was gonna be a boring game if West Brom was
Yeah,
playing.
it's like no offense, but they're such a nothing team. It's like please just stay down and
West
let.
Brom fans are coming for you.
I know. I get it. I get it. But like, come on. Like let let Blackburn come up. That'd be interesting.
Right, but Blackburn's in 10th, and
Yeah,
West Brom's almost
Yeah,
20 points clear of them.
yeah.
So I,
So
I, I sadly think West Brom are also going to go up too. I think that's the two. Well, actually, I'm gonna say, here's how I'm gonna say it. Leeds goes up in the automatic. West Brom goes up second automatic, and the promotion playoffs. That's going to be the best thing ever. I think Brentford, Forest, Fulham. They pretty much three are locked in. Like they're probably all going to get it.
yeah, they're
It's that
both.
sixth wild card one. I'm gonna just say it now. I think it's going to be Derby County.
Yeah, yeah. I think Derby have a good shot at it too. I mean, just they're a good little team. They're a good little well-rounded team.
I also want you to look at it. The goal differential of Brentford is 37. The second highest one is
Goodness,
29.
they've got
Brentford
70 goals for. That's quite the
Brentford
haul.
are killing it this year. But yeah, I think it's gonna be Leeds, West Brom, and then I think the promotion playoff, the championship game will be Forest against Brentford, and that one's gonna be tough to call. But I'm gonna say Brentford just because they've got 70 goals on the year.
By the way, I just want to point out I was looking at uh Leeds is in first place with 60 goals. QPR, they have 59 goals. And they're in 15th and they have a -7 goal differential.
That's
They
called
got
defense
59
right there,
goals, but they've
baby.
let in twice as many as Leeds. They let in 66.
That's just called a good defensive team right there. But and then my
Yeah, I think
relegation, it's pretty much just gonna be Stoke, Barnsley, and Luton Town. Well, actually, I want to see Stoke kind of get out of the relegation zone and like, because it looks like no matter who goes down out of this, unless Charlton go down, it's gonna be a team that has been in the Premier League at least in the last time for like the last couple of years. Because Stoke were in it a
yeah.
little while ago, and Borough were in it like a couple of years ago now. Huddersfield Town, I think
Yeah, Huddersfield won it recently, I believe,
I think
a
they were
couple
in
years
it. I
back.
don't want to say last year, but and then Hull were in it a couple of years ago. So they're all one of these teams is obviously going to go down probably, unless
Yeah.
Charlton do. But I think it's going to be Stoke because Burrow just hired Neil Warnock, who seems to be like the Jose Mourinho of the championship. He knows how to run the championship teams down there. But I think that it's definitely going to be Luton and Barnsley, and then probably Stoke, and that's my picks. I think a lot of the same from you probably.
Yeah, I've got similar picks. Who did you have it getting in at 6? You had Derby, because that's also why I'd getting at
Either
6.
Derby or Swansea, man. 'Cause Swansea's got who they got up top? They got Ryan Brewster up top. He's been having a good
I
return.
don't know. You know what? I'm gonna say there's no. I don't. I feel. See, the thing is, I, I think Cardiff could. I think they're good enough to stay in the playoff positioning. but I don't see any way where this table stays exactly the same in the top 6 for
Right, and that's what's scary about it, but, like, I still think, like, the top 5 are surely they're just gonna swap places there, but none of them will fall down to 6 and below. That's
yeah,
what I'm thinking
yeah,
about it, but
yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Derby just because I don't see any way all 6 of them stay the same.
right.
And
But
then,
oh, yeah, relegation?
relegation, yeah, I was just gonna say relegation-wise, I think ah, you know what? Just to stand out, I'm gonna say Huddersfield go down.
Okay, that's a pretty good pick, I know. I watched Huddersfield get the crap kicked out of them by Forest, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that's the championship. We'll obviously come back and look at this next week, and it'll be completely different probably. But we do have which while we're recording this, it's today, but whenever you see this, it might be after it. The League One playoffs are today, which
Ooh.
it
Tell you
is
what,
it is being put on ESPN Plus. I am watching that definitely, and I'm just gonna go ahead and make a pick here. I mean, there's not much analysis we can do. We'll talk about it, next week when after all the games have happened and stuff. But
I
I
feel like you're gonna
think
steal my pick.
I think obviously because the games are being played this weekend or tomorrow, I guess. Not the replay is not or the second leg's not being played again until Monday on July 6th. I think it's gonna be Oxford and Wickham.
God dang it.
Oxford and Wickham go through and Oxford makes it out and goes on the run to the championship to eventually get relegated right back down. Probably, I bet. But
Alright, yeah, I got Oxford also making it through.
okay, well, we're boring with our picks, so that's just a little slight thing there. If you got ESPN Plus, probably some good games to watch. I watched the League Two playoff. 1 second. I watched the
Good
League.
lord.
Dude, coronavirus be wild, but I watched
Hey,
the
man.
League Two playoffs, the final in like Northampton Town. Absolutely shat on on Exeter City. It was like 4-0 in the end, but
Yeah,
it's
you
interesting to watch.
yeah, you told me you said, "Hey, Will, you wanna have some of the guys over and watch the game together?" And I was like, "No. I don't wanna have people at my house to watch that game with them." And then it turned out to be,
An
a
absolute
slaughter, so
blowout. But
that's actually a good call.
so that's all of England covered. One thing we're gonna try to do every week is to talk about the other top five leagues,
Yeah.
which it's now just the top four leagues, I guess, because let's just start it out with Ligue 1 did decide to cancel this season. PSG were the
Mhm.
winners. That one's pretty easy to cover. And the Bundesliga is already wrapped up because Bayern have won. Is it 8 in a row now? Is that the eighth time in a row that they've won it? Because
It is something ridiculous.
Dortmund need to step it up.
Yeah.
Um. Also, did you see what happened in the second Bundesliga recently?
No,
Um.
I have not.
Let's see. So the playoffs. So they do a weird thing where it's like the promotion playoffs and the relegation playoffs. Going into the last match
Mhm.
day, Hamburger SV or HSV as I call them, they needed what's the team? They needed Heindem to to lose basically, and they did. Heindem
Mhm.
lost 3-0. So all HSV needed was a draw, and they would be in the promotion playoffs. They got beat 5-1 by mid-table Sandhausen, 5-1, and it's not even like it was that bad. Because it was 2-0 after 20 minutes, which obviously is bad, but then
Well, it's not ideal.
it was 2-1 in the 62nd minute, and then 84th to 93rd minute they scored 3 goals.
Goodness.
And I
Land it on.
and I remember they tweeted it out. They said, something along the lines of any team that gets beat 5-1 by a mid-table shouldn't be in the chance of going to the promotion playoffs. But man, you gotta give a little bit of
Yeah.
you gotta get a little bit of yelling at the players because you shat the bed.
Well, listen, it was scoring those, like, what'd you say, 3 goals in the last, what, 10 minutes?
It was probably them just going for it at that point, but you shat the bed either way.
Yeah.
um, yeah, obviously Germany. This is probably gonna be the only time we mention it because the title race is over and Bundesliga is over, and
Yeah.
it's probably gonna be the only time we mention the league.
Which
Because
yeah.
Did they just call it ends, or did they do the weird thing where they like
Uh, I don't remember what they did, but it doesn't much matter because
didn't matter in the end because
PSG.
PSG was 12 points ahead and they had a game in hand when the thing stopped?
Yeah, just going out on a limb, I got PSG and Bayern winning their respective leagues next year.
I would have to agree with that too. In the other two leagues, Spain and La Liga, or Spain with La Liga, it
Which
looks like Real Madrid's gonna win it.
Barcelona were in the prime. This is the league that I outside of uh
England.
English I know the most about. I would say probably at least their title race at this point. Which it was Barcelona had the they looked like they had like what I believe the statistics said they had like a 70% chance of winning the league,
And they blew
and
it.
now they blew it. Back to back draws,
Yep, they drew with
and
Atletico and they drew with
I think Athletic
Celtic
Club.
Viga.
No, they beat Athletic Club by like one
Celta
nil.
Vigo.
Yeah, that's what it was. Uh, yeah, they. I mean, it's Barcelona. I think their manager's gone after this season. Honestly, if they come away from this season when it's looking like they are, unless they do something in the Champions League, something crazy, or something crazy in the league as well, um, come away with this season with zero trophies. That's it. That's it for. I think I said Xavi might come in and be the manager after that because
And yeah, but like it's also like this with it the Champions League doesn't start till August, so we'll have a little bit
yeah,
of a break, but it looks
that's
like
true.
he's gone by mid June or mid July because that's whenever the season's supposed to end. But it does look like I mean, even though they're only 4 points behind, it looks like Real Madrid's got enough momentum to carry them to the end, win
Yeah,
all five
and
games and
also
win the title.
again on Barcelona too. Uh, I think they're about to have some wholesale changes in that team from manager to like the board members as well because
It's just not
uh
getting good enough.
I mean they've spent what how much money have they spent Griezmann, Dembele, who Coutinho. I
They
mean
spent a lot of
they've brought
money
in
and they haven't
all
done
this money.
anything with that.
They haven't done anything with it. I mean it's still best players Messi and Suarez, you know? I mean,
But yeah, it does look like Real Madrid are going to run with that league. And the last league that we want to talk about in the football or the soccer side of things, is Serie A. It's a team. It's another stinker of a league that Juventus wins every year. But
well, yeah,
it's close
mm,
this year.
it's getting pretty yeah. Um this is I on ESPN Plus. This is what they broadcast these games a lot. I think they have the rights to Serie A, so I watch these more in general, but I don't keep up with it closely. But yeah, Juve's gonna. It looks like they're definitely gonna come away with the title this year,
It's either going to be
or they should at least.
Juve, or if Lazio can pull something out amazingly, then maybe them. But their top four is pretty much locked in because after Atalanta at 60 points, Roma's got 48. So their top four is
Yeah,
definitely locked in. But
yeah. Their top four is done for pretty much.
but so that's pretty much all we have for the soccer side of things. Now this is called the Two Footballs podcast, so we're also going to talk about American football. When the season starts, it'll be a lot more split. I know for
Yep.
today we've talked almost 50 minutes about the Premier League. But we don't have much NFL news right now. The NFL's been really quiet.
Yeah. Which I mean, also there is also college football too because
Right,
I'm an LSU fan. You're a Purdue fan.
right.
Our respective schools.
Yeah, it's where we go to college at. But honestly, it's like right now this is already sort of dead time, which we might talk about college football a little bit and might talk about, the draft and stuff whenever things roll around to that point. But right now it's kind of like a silenter side of things for the NFL. But there was
Yeah.
actually some pretty big news this week. Cam Newton signed a 1 year deal with that is very incentive based for seven. Like it could go up
Yeah.
to 7.5 million. But I feel so bad for Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah. Well, listen, I being an LSU fan, I watched him play at Auburn for a couple years, and he's nothing special to me. But I think he just goes to show that to make it as just in the NFL, you just have to be a tall white game manager from the SEC, and teams assign you to be their backup at least.
Right, and I mean, apparently, like Belichick was like, "Oh yeah, we're really confident in Jarrett this year. they were all saying like, "Oh yeah, Jarrett's gonna be a great player this year," and now they've just gone out and signed Cam Newton,
Yeah,
and so
he would say that, wouldn't he?
right. I think Cam Newton will probably be the starter unless
Yeah,
they decide to
I
sign someone else. But
the if Cam Newton is healthy, he's back, he's healthy. There's no problems with his shoulder. I mean, you start Cam Newton. And
right,
the dude's an MVP. People like to hate on him, and I like to hate on him too because I was a Saints fan and he played for Carolina, but he doesn't play for Carolina anymore. So like game respect, game or whatever. Like dude was a beast. Dude was a monster. It's just those injuries really derailed his career, and he's been trash, like absolute
right.
garbage can. He hasn't won a game in like 2 years. So,
Right,
but
and I
if
mean,
those injuries are over, you give him the ball, give the man the rock.
I definitely think um, the Patriots are gonna still go like 8-8 or something, 9-7 maybe. 'Cause they've got a really good defense, but their offense definitely was the side of things that really fell apart last year.
Yeah, I think they can at least scrape out 8 to 9 wins. I think I have no idea honestly, actually, because
Right, because they have
I've
a
never
lot of
seen. Yeah,
moving parts, and spring training camp hasn't even happened
there's
yet.
so much going on.
We might not even have an NFL season if the coronavirus keeps getting as bad as it is here, but
Yeah,
the last thing we want to talk about for today, obviously with the NFL, the only other sort of rumor going around is where's Jamal Adams going to go, because he very clearly wants to leave the Jets and he very clearly wants to go to Dallas.
well, and it's like I don't blame him. Like,
Right.
who wants to play for the Jets?
Right, and
Like,
the Jets
no
have been
offense.
like yeah, like, no offense to the Jets, but they've been terrible for so long.
Yeah, I mean, the last time they had a player, and I'm not saying he's at that caliber yet, but he is very good. Jamal Adams is he's all pro,
Right.
strong safety. But the last time they had like Darrell Revis, they let him they let him get gone. They couldn't hold on to him. You
Right.
can't lose cornerstone defenders like that.
Right, and I think if Jamal Adams does go to Dallas, that's going to be interesting for Dallas's payroll in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well because Jamal Adams. I mean, he deserves the money. He does
Right,
one of the best
yeah,
safeties in football.
he's one of the best safeties, so surely you got to pay him, right? Right?
Yeah,
That's what we thought with
come and
Dak
bring me
Prescott
my
too.
money.
But
Yeah, they've some apparently they have a hard time paying players that deserve the pay, which I mean, you can't pay everyone, I guess, and it's difficult to keep uh good core players around, which I guess kind of speaks to how much they've been the Cowboys have been underperforming with Jason Garrett at coach the last couple years, which I mean he's gone now, but
right, and
which I
obviously,
mean they've got such a good core of players that they have to pay, and they never really did much with it.
yeah, and I
So
mean, Jason Garrett totally should have done more than he did there at Dallas, but I think Jamal Adams is going to go to Dallas, and yeah, that's pretty much all we got for this week. I suppose the
yeah,
first episode. So,
I think the
we'll let you
next
know some
couple
things.
weeks when we'll probably have on guests like our friends to come talk on. We'll probably talk more about football, like American football,
Yeah, so
whenever
we're
we have our friends on.
we're gonna try our best whenever we bring people on to make sure that they know a little bit about the Premier League or something, and we won't just
Yeah,
bring on like complete
which
numbnuts that are only gonna wait till the football section to say anything. But
it's yeah, it's whenever we talk about Premier League though, it's like we can make predictions, we can look at the fixtures, we can talk about what's happening. With when we talk about American football, it would just mostly be like stupid arguments, you know?
right,
Like which I mean we have plenty because we talk about football a lot. So we could, and there was a lot that went on these last couple seasons that we could argue about. So we definitely got plenty to talk about.
right, and there's obviously a lot to talk about. But the guest side of things, we want to try to bring people on, but we want to make sure like they are able to talk a little bit about the Premier League, because today we covered it for almost 50 minutes, or we just talked about soccer for 50 minutes, and So maybe, you might not see as many guests on this show early on, but whenever American football season comes up, we'll just probably have them on every single week. And how we want to kind of base it is we want to kind of do a preview show, and then whenever, well, obviously right now all the games are like back to back to back throughout the week. There's like barely any dead days. And then kind of like a review show after all the games we've covered,
Mhm.
come back around and do everything. So but yeah, that's pretty much all we have for today. We'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. If you have tuned in all the way to the end, drop a like, drop a subscribe. This is a new podcast. We're very excited about it, very enthusiastic. Leave a comment on what you think. If you want to follow us on our socials, we'll have that posted down in the description, or the social, I guess, because all we have is Twitter. But we'll be putting out tweet notifications on when we upload our podcast.
Yeah,
And
we'll maybe start tweeting some stupid stuff as well
right, some
from our
stupid,
Twitter account.
some absolutely stupid stats.
Fellas?
Like fellas based comedy. That's one of our best things. But we'd like to thank y'all for tuning in and watching all the way to the end. Drop a comment down below what you thought. Like and subscribe, obviously. And from Spencer Verrett and William, we will see y'all next time.